Notts County Talk, we are live with episode 112. George, honestly, I know I say this, I've said this a few times, but to get to 112 episodes with you is magic, really.
I know.
Really, it is really good.
It's like an off-the-cuff joke, don't it? We can't stand each other, but we genuinely can't.
Yeah, I know, but 112 episodes, it's actually flown by. We're looking at over 2 seasons now coming up to, I think, which is exciting. As you'll have seen there, we have a new holding screen. We gave Luke Williams a send-off last week with his final one, but that is Stuarts Maynard, our new manager, on our holding screen. And you will see we are powered by Best Bites computers still. We're onto I think we're going into our 3rd season now, aren't we, George? And yeah, fantastic not-owned company. Use the code Pavis Perspective, get money off computer repairs or refurbished computers or accessories. Fantastic company, can't rate them enough. 4.9, George, I've just seen. 4.9 on Google reviews. That doesn't happen unless you genuinely are a fantastic company. Let's see who we've got with us this evening. We've got Stephen, Nigel, Aaron, Dave, Stuart, Malcolm, Corey, Ken, Royston, Adam, who's a channel member, Derek, Dave, Ian, another Ian, Steve, Chris, got loads of you here today. Martin, who's a channel member, thank you so much. Platinum member as well. Those platinum members, your January coasters are on their way. So they'll be with you at some point very, very soon once they have been, the finishing touches have been put to them. But George, how are you doing?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. It's a whirlwind, really, isn't it? Because you think Williams left Notts, 21 days ago? And it's funny how quickly football moves, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Because it's like we're at Stuarts Maynard now. And, pretty happy about it so far. We're not at a game yet, but it's looking good. I'm liking the content that the club's putting out. And things have sort of moved on to the next phase, really, haven't they? Sort of the next... Yeah, I suppose phase is a good way to put it for Notts. Someone just put in the chat Williams, who I won't go that far. He did a lot for the club. But, football goes on. It's a fairly fickle old industry, isn't it, football?
Yeah. I will tell you something, though. I am now genuinely, I've parked the Williams bus. I'm completely over it.
You said you were over it the day we did the video.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? I don't even have, first time I saw him in a Swansea kit, I was like, oh, look at that. It doesn't look right. But I've seen him in 2 interviews now, and I watched the Swansea-Southampton second half, and I just think, no, the football, you can't become too attached, can you? You literally can't become attached. Jordan says, new manager haircut, George.
Yeah, I'm trying to impress him. I only had it done about, an hour and a half ago.
I've had a haircut. No one's mentioned that.
Can't tell.
Ridiculous. Our poll question today, George. Have you got it up in front of you? What's our poll question today?
The poll question today is, are you watching The Traitors? No spoilers, please, in brackets.
Yeah. So yes. for people that are watching The Traitors, we'll give our answer at the end. But yeah, people might not be up to date. So yeah, don't spoil it for them.
Are you not up to date, Tom?
I'm not saying if I'm watching it.
Okay. I'm going to spoil it.
Aaron says, yes, what a show. And then Chris says, what is The Traitors? There you go. And I think the most sensible questions from Adrian before we get started is, can anyone smell toast? And if you don't know what that is, Notts put a mic'd up with our management team. Stuarts Maynard's in there, and I genuinely clicked on it thinking, I'm going to see a masterclass here. And it's him walking around the pitch for a couple of seconds and then says, can anyone smell toast? And I'm thinking, that's it. I'm well and truly over Luke Williams. And I'll tell you what, Notts have just tweeted the final thing. I'll put this out there in case people don't know. It says, attention season ticket holders, tomorrow presents your last chance to buy and secure an extra Barrow ticket for £1. It's the Bring a Friend match. The offer can't be redeemed on match day, and I think it's one of 2 matches this season. So yeah, use that if you haven't. Get more fans in at Medellin. Good atmosphere with Maynard being in. But yeah, George, I know I was gutted last week. You were very, very gutted about the Stockport game, weren't you, being cancelled?
Yeah.
I think it could have gone ahead.
Do you know what?
I'm no groundsman.
I thought the same. And then at about 2:00, I went for a walk at Gedling Country Park for all the people that have been there. They've done a great job there. You know, I know it's been there for a long time. I'm not saying it like I've just been there for the first time. I love going there. It's great, especially with the kids. Good part. The zip line makes one have a go, but too many people there. And the ground was solid, and it had been fairly warm that day as well. And I think it's because we had like a week long of frosting, didn't we? So I think the ground was pretty much set. So they probably, it's hard to say. I'm no groundsman, but yeah, I thought the same until I went out and actually, did a little inspection of the grass at the side of the path at Gedden.
Fair enough. I think it's the part of me that was so desperate for the game on that was thinking it's got to be on surely. But until we got the tweet the day before, I never even had any like slight inkling that the game would be off. I thought, I never even crossed my mind. He might be able to hear my cat trying to get into the room. Massive Maynard fan and wants to give his thoughts on it. No, if I let him in, it's going to be war. You might be able to hear me. He'll just be jumping on me, scratching my arm to pieces. Anyone that's got a cat will know that. So if you see me shutting the door, it's because the cat's trying to get in. But
it's a shame I'm not there to calm him down.
He's not joining the channel. He loves you, doesn't he? He loves you when you come around. Loves you. I don't know why. But there we go. So I was gutted it wasn't on. But in hindsight, it would have been a tough game. And what are you going to do in a day? You're not going to do anything in one day. And
you can do quite a lot in a day.
Yeah, but we're talking football here. We're talking changing the defence that's leaked goals in.
You didn't say in football. You just said, what can you get done in a day? Cut the hedge.
Yeah, but we're on a football podcast.
Fair enough.
Your haircut's got to your head. It's ridiculous. You've been watching too much Traitors. But anyway, you'll see some managers come in and they say things, and the club will say things like, "Will not be taking charge for the game." If teams have been on a bad run or something like that, and the manager, if they come in one day, maybe 2 days before, they won't do it. But it seemed like he was ready to go. From what I've heard, the players were desperate to go. So in hindsight, it's probably better. It is probably better because Barrow, we'll go to talk about in a little bit. They're not on a very good run of form, and they are a good team, but they're not on a good run of form. So I think this is a much better first game to have than Stockport. I know Stockport were depleted, and it's been rearranged for April when they'll have Louis Barry back, who's unbelievable, and they'll have more players available. But I think it's probably for the best. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think I agree. There's two sides to it for me. I'm not sort of here or there. I can't decide what I think. I think it's one of those games where people would say, "Oh, it's a free hit," and I can understand that. I probably thought that a little bit myself, but it's one of them where if he comes in and it's an absolute battering, even though he's only been in for a day, it wouldn't have boded too well. But if he comes in and we won sort of 2-0 or something like that, we didn't concede, everyone would have been like that would have been like the perfect start for Maynard, wouldn't it? Yeah. And look, they're a depleted side, so the odds are probably higher as doing that, having a bit of a, I know our owners don't like it, but new manager bounce. Again, like I say, Stockport that are up there, but they're low on numbers at the minute. And now we've had a week to get ready for Barrow, but Barrow are a force in themselves. They're on a really good run this season.
They are. They're a good side, and we'll talk about it a bit more later. We won't talk to a Barrow fan. I'm absolutely gobsmacked we haven't got one the second time round as well. I've sent messages out. We don't have a Barrow fan. So based on purely our podcast, if that was all you could go off, Barrow have the worst fan base in the league, based on our podcast.
Well, you can't say anything like that. You can't say
they haven't shown up twice. Do you know what I mean? Haven't shown up twice. I mean,
me personally, I would say something like that. That's terrible.
Well, I think you would. You go on about Wrexham all the time. But no, we genuinely couldn't get a Barrow fan to come on. I don't know why. We tried our hardest, but we'll have to give the insight into Barrow. Which, yeah, to be fair, like George said, they are a good side. But also another big positive for me, George, is that we've signed a defender. We have to talk about that. I know people will have seen Will's reaction to the signing of Jayden Warner on the channel. Very, very good insight. I know Will's excited about him. There's like a 1-minute video there's a 1-minute clip of him playing against Fulham in like the League Cup earlier in the season. But he looks good in that 1-minute video, and anything can happen, and a player can be like that. But when you hear what the Norwich fans have been saying about him, and they're raving, they're saying he could be in the first team. And earlier in this, they're doing well now, but earlier in the season they weren't doing so well, and some of their fans were crying out for him to be in there. I think that's got to be a massive positive. How excited are you about the signing? And I'm going to pull up some comments from the start of the video in a short while. But George, just give me your initial thoughts on the signing of Jayden Warner.
Yeah, it's nice. I think he looks like the player that we've really been after. I suppose the only negative for me is that it's a loan move. Obviously, it lowers the risk if it doesn't really work out or whatever. But in terms of his attributes and what he can offer, he's the perfect candidate. He can play well with the ball. He's fast. He's tall, and it's what we're lacking a little bit, I think, at the back. So I think in terms of a fit, it's perfect. And to sort of, I mean, it could have been hearsay, but apparently Stockport were in for him. So to sort of get in over them, it's a little bit sweet, I suppose, as well, isn't it?
Yeah, their fans saying they were never in for him. He probably would say that if.
How do they know?
Yeah, if you didn't get a player, but you say it's a shame it's not a permanent. But I think judging just purely on what their fans are saying, it would be impossible to get him on a permanent. I think it sounds like he's going to be one of their first team players. A few people asked, and I asked one of their fans if he would be suitable for a side chasing promotion from League Two. He said easily, no issues there. Going back to what you said, then here's a few comments from the start. Stephen said, even though I'm the only one who's not keen on loan players. Aaron says, not a fan of loan players, but I think the owners know we need to strengthen loan now, purchase accordingly in the off season. Dave, loan's not ideal, but we need reinforcements due to injuries. The club is looking at sustainability. How are you on loan players? I love it. I think it's a fantastic option to have.
Yeah, it's a good option to have, but it's just sort of one of those things, isn't it, where when a loan player comes in and they're amazing, you just sort of, we talk about foundations at a club. If you're heavily reliant on loan players and you get promotion, it's not really that sustainable. So if he comes in and hits the ground running and starts absolutely changing our defense, you'd maybe, for me, worry a bit. But I agree. I'm neither here nor there. I prefer permanent, but I think the option to loan is a lot better because you've got players that are playing for a different reason. They want game time. They want to prove themselves, as does every player, I suppose. But a player that's coming down a couple of leagues, the hunger's definitely going to be there. So, I mean, I'm not against loans at all, to be honest.
Yeah, Malcolm here says Warner will be first team at Norwich in 12 months. Understand from a source at the Canaries. I get it, and you've seen people on Twitter with other things saying never fall in love with a lone player, or they're having a joke saying it's happening again, falling in love with a lone player. I think he could be unbelievable, and the worry is, and what could happen is, he could come in as the best defender at the club pretty much straight away. I don't know. He could do. If he does, it points to something we already knew where we didn't recruit well enough at the back. Which no matter what happens with his signing, we've not recruited well enough at the back. Plain and simple. I know we've had injuries. Even with Badrami as a backup, we've not recruited well enough. I don't think anyone could say that.
I agree. I do agree. But do you not think, given the defence's statistics from last season, giving them like a decent run, like a chance basically to prove themselves?
Yeah, but
and they're not. We know the club aren't going to invest heavily in January because it's inflated prices in January, isn't it?
But no matter how well they've done, we play 3 at the back formation. You can bring one defender in as a first team, surely.
Yeah, I agree, but I 100% agree. I do, but I do think we had a lot of options at centre back.
But do you know what you could say?
We bought Tipton in at the start of the season, and we bought Macari in at the start of the season. When you're thinking about building on a defence that already was pretty good last season,
Yeah.
What more can you do? It's amazing. Like when you look at our model, it is pretty good.
Track record's good.
Track record's good, yeah. And then you look at other clubs and they're spending massive on players and stuff like that. And that's all good and well, but we've seen it before, and it's not sustainable, and it can lead to some daunting times, can't it? So I'm not going to get too upset by it. I think it is something that is glaringly obvious, and they're not going to have been sleeping on it. And I'm sure they've sort of made movements and been unsuccessful in certain areas and stuff like that. It's just about doing things the right way, isn't it? And not being sort of hasty and making the wrong decision.
Yeah, I agree. But I just feel like you could say that for anyone in the team, really, couldn't you? You could say, why have we not improved this position when we scored like 100 odd goals?
We did. We improved fairly heavily up front, though. Like at the top end of the pitch with Crowley and Goldrick. You know, they're players that I'm sure, and Jones as well. I know he's sort of a wing back, but they're players that I'm sure run, you know, quite a good wage. So you're sort of taking a chunk of that sort of budget for players further up the pitch.
Yeah. I mean, hindsight's good, isn't it? We could be sat here conceding 30 goals and everything's hunky-dory, but I don't know.
On the grand scheme of things as well, it's not like the defenders are terrible. It's just the basic errors. It's very, very basic. The amount of goals that we've conceded this season that were so preventable is a joke, I think, to be honest. But
oh well, we've improved. We're on to newer things.
We didn't concede last weekend, did we? Which is always good.
That's stunning. But I'm not very happy. We scored 5 against Grimsby without a proper manager. 5 o'clock last Saturday, no goals.
No goals. Yeah.
Maynard's taken us backwards, if I'm being honest. 5 goals to none. But I think this defense, and the more I've been thinking about it, I think this defense could be one, like the addition of Warner. I think he could be one. I think we could just be one very good sign away from the rest of it clicking. Do you know who's impressed me? I've given him a little bit of stick on the channel over the past, I don't know. Well, not over the past month. I think he's been one of my best defenders over the past month. But like November, October, September time.
Sloth.
Not sloth. Get that out of your head. Get it out of your head. I'll tell people that what you've done with the permanent marker on your not shirt this season. But anyway.
I don't know.
You know you've written sloth on the back of that in permanent marker. Anyway. But Baldwin. I think Baldwin's stepped up for me. Really, really has stepped up. I think Harry got away where we were shocking, but I think Baldwin was one of our better players. I think he's stepped up. I think you put Baldwin, who's now shown a bit of consistency. I know, look, we conceded 5 in the last game and 4 the one before, but yeah, we'll talk about what Stuart Maynard said about the whole team defending anyway. But as an individual defender, I think he's been the best of them. Put him next to Jayden Warner, who's going to come in. Hopefully, he's got lots of confidence. Last time he played a game of any note was a very good game against Fulham. I know it was a while back. And then let's see what happens, because a confident Aidan Baldwin that's not shouldering defensive responsibilities on his own. Now, I'm not saying the other defenders didn't do that. I'm not saying they didn't help, but for me, they were the weak links. Put him in. Does he go straight in for you, Warner?
I think so. If he's ready to go, I can't see why he wouldn't.
Yeah.
It looks like Macari's close to being back, doesn't it, from the little video that they had out there in the week with the injury updates, which is actually quite refreshing because you don't really get an accurate injury update, do we? Well, we didn't under Williams anyway. I don't know if that was sort of his ruling, but yeah, I mean, put him in, yeah.
Yeah. Jeff says been good since the game against Shrewsbury. Yeah, he was really poor against Shrewsbury, but he has been good. Ian says Brindley was doing okay in the middle with Palmer in front of him in the early season. Yeah, and I think then he had a really shaky game. I can't remember who it was against. I don't know if it was Colchester. I can't remember. Might have been a bit later on than that, but I don't know if he even played against Colchester. It's casting my mind back to like September time. But I think he goes straight in for me. The only other thing is, George, does this point to us sticking with a 5 at the back?
Yeah, I think so.
Macari and him permanent.
Yeah, I can't see why it'd change. Yeah,
I agree. I don't think we're going to a 4 at the back now. Definitely not this season. It'll be very hard to go from a 5 to a 4 and maintain a push like keep continuity of attack and everything like that. You want to just get in and give your best possible chances as a head coach, don't you? Charlie says Jones, Cameron, Baldwin, Warner, Neman. Yes, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Toby, but I don't know. You never know.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's a new manager. I'm sure it's not going to change too much, and there's not going to be loads of changes. But I think players like Toby, where it's been strange, where he's saying they've had a little injury and they're out for like a month. Then they'll come in, play a little bit, and then they're out for another month. It's strange. I'll be wondering if he's sort of comes back into favour under a new manager or.
Yeah. Do you agree with this comment then? Basically, there's a comment here saying if Luke Williams was here, Jayden wouldn't be in on Saturday. What do you think?
It's just difficult to say.
I kind of agree with that. I don't think he would be in. I think Luke Williams was a manager that wouldn't just throw him straight in. I think we would have seen him maybe introduced off the bench or wait till we had a Saturday, Tuesday game and put in then. If we've signed him from Norwich and he's as good as their fans say and the video is, then I think there will definitely be there has to be some terms in that. And especially if we've got him over Stockport, there's going to have to be some terms in there that say he plays. It probably just says in the contract, don't use him like you use Tipton. And we just ticked the box because there we go. Swansea losing 1-0 to Bournemouth in the 8th minute. Oh, I didn't know it was going on. They're shipping goals, aren't they? Oh, is it?
Yeah.
What, 8 minutes in? I reckon I could keep a clean sheet against Bournemouth 8 minutes in. On my own, I reckon. But no, I know I forgot Bournemouth in the Prem. They don't feel like a Prem team to me, but there we go. Final thing on Warner is pace that you see in that video. Oh, goodness me.
Beautiful.
We have a high line anyway, but I really, I'm hopeful. This might have been put in the chat anyway, but it's just been putting now a word on Maka. Do you think we keep him? I think, yeah.
Yeah, I was actually having this conversation earlier on with my barber, believe it or not, because you sort of saying about Maka, and I think it's such a sort of niche club that would, because I know he's sort of done it back to back sort of seasons now, back to back because he did it in the National League North, and he's on course to score nearly 40 goals again this season. So he's obviously a talented player. He's at a good age, I think. But I think that the sum is going to be a hefty sum, and it is still a risk. So to be paying, you see figures flung around at $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million. If that, I find it difficult to have a value. Maka is very valuable to Notts. Don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't like to put a figure on it myself. But let's say it's $1 million or $1.5 million. I don't think there's actually many clubs in the Football League, really, that would be in a position to say, I want to sign that League Two striker for $1 million or £1.5 million. I'd say there's probably like one or maybe two clubs that would be willing to take that risk with the amount of money that you pay for it. Because it is a risk. I think Mac is amazing. I think he probably could do it on a championship level. But it's a massive risk. So
Do you know what his profile of players like reeks of to me? Is I don't know who, I couldn't say who, but a panic buy bid on like deadline day or the day before, like from a team that know he's good but haven't really scouted him, and then just look and say, my God, 42 goals in the National League or whatever that season, and then he scored 20 now. It stinks of a team that will just bid. It'll be rejected. I don't see it happening because we couldn't reinvest the money. I mean, I hate to say this, but if he went and we couldn't fill his position, which we wouldn't be able to if he went. Not well enough now anyway, but there'd be season over, wouldn't it?
Do you think 2 million?
Yeah.
I think that's way too much.
No, I definitely think. Have you seen what fees are being branded around for that Al Hamidi from Wimbledon? There's people saying 3 million. But he has age on his side. He's 21. So it's a little bit different.
What's Maka, 25, 26?
I think Maka's coming up to 27.
Is he?
I think, which is prime age for a striker, to be fair. Macaulay Langstaff, 27 on the 3rd of Feb. I mean, look at this. He He scored 28 goals for Gateshead in the National League North, then moved up a division and scored 42, and then moved up again and is comfortably on to break 30 goals. He's proven he can step it up. I'm not saying that he'll go there. No way. But Ipswich need a striker, and they've got an injury to their striker. And Ipswich are like second in the Championship, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
I think you could put him in an Ipswich side before the end of the season. Even at like a top Championship, you're creating a lot of chances. I think he'd score 8, 9 before the end of the season, maybe 7 or 8. There'll be someone, and we probably won't hear about it. There'll be someone who puts a deadline day bid in. There will be a team that's floating around the relegation places of League One, of Championship. Sorry, relegation places, and just thinks we need to try and go for it. Or a team that's floating around the top of League One that can afford it and thinks a couple more goals.
What, 2 million? You think there's a club in League One that can afford 2 million?
Yeah.
Who?
Let me get the table up. Let's have a look. Fleetwood.
Come on.
They're bottom. Derby, Bolton,
No.
Pompey, Barnsley, Oxford. Oxford have got money.
They've not got 2 million to spend on a forward, I don't think.
Who says that? You look at the bottom end of the Championship, I know who has. Birmingham City.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. To me saying there's only a few, like a niche few clubs, for me it's them, Birmingham or Sunderland.
Yeah. Sunderland. Yeah.
I think Sunderland would take the gamble on him.
Sunderland are 10th, aren't they?
Mm.
Are they scoring many? 37.
It just makes sense as well.
No, yeah, but I don't think he's going to go. I'm just saying, like, hypothetically, for me, he's worth 2 million. 100%. 100%. And the higher up the league you go, the more you charge him. 100%. Chris says Ruben will probably push for him at Oxford in an interview. I agree. Probably will. Coventry, Sunderland, Birmingham all can afford 2 million. I think because we're in the Championship, I think you'll be surprised that 2 million is like not that much to a Championship club. There are some clubs, obviously, that wouldn't spend 2 million, like your Rotherhams. But I do think it's not actually that much. Like I look at that table now. Leicester could, Ipswich could, Southampton could, Leeds could, West Brom, Coventry. Oh yeah, Hull could, Norwich could, Watford could, Sunderland could, Middlesbrough probably could. I don't know, but I think he stays. I'm so confident he stays. So confident he stays. Yeah, next week, me sat here like this.
Tom in tears. Tom's gonna have tears running down his face, and he's gonna be like, "I'm over it. I'm over it."
I said I don't even care anymore. I didn't even care anyway.
I've had enough.
Didn't even rate him. You've ruined March season, right? A lot of people talk about Mansfield. That is coming up very, very, very soon. Mansfield, buzzing for that one. You're coming to that one?
Yeah, I'm driving to that one.
Are you actually?
Yeah. I got it in nice and early. It's the furthest away day, innit? So I thought I'd put myself down and drive that one.
Am I in your car?
No, you're in your spare bedroom.
I'm not. I call it the office because I want my house to seem more expensive. But there we go. I'm loving that one. I haven't driven much this season, so I'm excited for that one. And then the big question is linked to an away day. Are you doing Newport with us?
I want to, yeah.
What percentage? What percentage?
Probably 40% there.
That's not promising.
It's not.
It's really not promising. But
it's hard, mate. Family life, you know. I've got responsibilities out here.
I've got a cat. Just let you know it's 16 minutes in and Bournemouth are 3-0 up.
It's all right.
Yeah. It's not it's really not promising, is it, for Luke Williams currently? It really isn't.
Imagine the unthinkable happened.
What?
Imagine it just didn't work out for him.
I don't think it's a given. Nowhere near a given.
What, that it'll work out for him?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't either. I agree. It's a massive
right. Completely different setup to Notts. Completely.
Yeah.
You saw with him at Notts when it wasn't when we weren't the dominant side, it was chaos. But anyway, when you stop talking about that, it's I know a big part of our recent history. I think our defense will be better under Maynard. I'm really interested to see what he can do with our defense. Did you watch the video with him mic'd up? There was a couple of really interesting bits that I heard him, and I think it's Saunders, isn't it? Saying there was a thing about a press, and there was something about, he said, I think it's to Scott Robertson, Didsey. He said when Robertson goes, you don't go. You drop back into the centre mid position. Like little things like that. Like I can't recall off the top of my head if that's what we were doing or not. But I don't know. I think it will be harder to break down. There used to be there was massive gaps, wasn't there? Huge gaps under us. Well, there we go. Oh yeah, and Jody, another gear. I know. He's just got to find out what Jody's really like. In training, I bet is incredible in training. Absolutely incredible. So there we go. Before we talk about Barrow then, George, 6 days left of our transfer window. Anyone else? People say we need a defence midfielder. I think Scott Robertson could be that player that gets tough tackling. I saw him for a little bit against Grimsby. He's had a lot more time to get fit in training and things like that. But do we need anyone else?
I don't know. It's difficult. With Scott being potentially back, was it March was said in that video?
Yeah, which is good news.
It's good news, but it's a few months, isn't it? I don't see us bringing a striker in. Would I like us to? Yeah, but I mean, I suppose I'd like us to bring a new player in every position if they're better than what we already have. Yeah, I'd probably be swayed if I said we need a position. I'd probably say that actually, like a deep lying midfielder.
Yeah, and apparently we're looking at Breckin from Man City on loan, I saw as well. Battling out with some good teams at the top, Crewe and Stockport. They have the upper hand in terms of location on us. But style of play might go in our favour. Let's see. We've got Adam said this. I'm worried Jody gets poached in a horrible way. His injury record actually plays in our favour. I think
probably, yeah.
He's only really had a year, would you say, at full fitness?
Probably not quite a year. Yeah, not quite a year, I'd say.
I think he's not a player that will go in January, Adam. I think he will go summer if he's going to go. And look, there'll be people that's probably inquired about him, but I think he stays.
He's such a good player, though. He's such a good player.
So good.
When we're playing, as a team, not the best, he is like the shining light, isn't he? He's so good.
You know Harrogate where he scored the free kick? Their game plan, because no one else has played, their game plan was 2 or 3 players on Jody. And then when he passed the ball to someone else, like Bostock, they still left 2 on him. They didn't even bother marking anyone else. And that's like, yeah, that's saying something, isn't it? In my opinion, Jody and Crowley best in our team. Yeah, Crowley will be interesting what he's like under a new manager. It's a massive hug between the two. On the end of that video, I think that could be really good. But I think we just need one more player will do. See us through. Am I right in thinking there's no Matty Palmer for the rest of the season, is there?
No.
And there's no Badge?
No.
No, so it's Kedwin. Imagine getting Kedwin when it's playoff push time. I think he's a fantastic player. And we've mentioned it before, but still to this day, Gateshead fans are adamant he is the better finisher than Maka. So there we go. Marcus says Jones, great going forward, but offers little defensively. I will be really interested to see how we adapt defensively when it comes to Maynard. Do you know what I thought might happen? I'm not a tactician or anything, but when those wing-backs go forward, you might ask one of your defenders, you might ask one of the midfielders to drop in and just make it a back 4. As in, like, the wingers go forward, one drops in.
That's what's supposed to happen anyway. It just hasn't been happening.
It's not been, has it? Yeah. That would make most sense to me, because if you've got 4 back in the keeper, you've still got 6 attacking, and we've got the talent to make it work. But I don't know. The only trouble is we offer so much going forward with Cameron and Baldwin. Like, as much as we want them to defend, they do start attacks. They really do start attacks. Right then, Barrow at home. Gutted I'm not going to be at this game. Absolutely gutted. But you'll be there. You'll be providing the content for us. which is great to see because you're a lovely lad. You are great, great with your content. So you'll be providing it. The usual lads will be there with you at the game, but they're not on the best run. Current table stands: Barrow 5th on 49. We are 7th on 43. Barrow's recent results been doing really well. They lost to Crewe, drew to Sutton, which is a really poor result. Although Sutton drew against Mansfield, so they're on the up a little bit.
Yeah.
Beat Tranmere, but then battered by Wrexham, drew with Accrington, drew with Stockport. So some tough teams in there, but this is the best time, in my opinion, to play them. Absolute best time. It's also worth saying, drop out of the playoffs on Saturday. Could drop out the playoffs. What do you reckon? What do you reckon in terms of difficulty, in terms of, yeah.
I just have flashbacks to that 3-0 thumping we talked when we talked Barrow. That was the last time they were at Meadow Lane, I think, wasn't it?
Barrow?
Yeah. Would have been.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Good team. Very good team. Their manager was sort of one of the names in the hat for our management job that was vacant. I don't know. It's a sort of blind faith at the minute because you're going in thinking, Maynard's had a good week with them, and ideally you'd want us to see like a really good performance, not a perfect performance, just improvements where we want to see them. Hopefully a win. But yeah, like you say, it's a good time to play them, but they're still a good team.
Have you seen how many goals they've conceded?
How many?
29. Very, very good. Only Mansfield and Stockport better with 22 and 27. We're not far off, though. We've only conceded 52. So we've conceded more than Forest Green. More than Forest Green, who are bottom of the league. But anyway, that's a story for another day. But we've also scored an awful lot more than Forest Green. We have more points. So who cares? Entertaining football. At their place, they were much better than us, but we nearly held out. We went a while. But Malcolm says Pete Wilder's a seriously good coach. Love to see him at the Pies in the future. He is a very, very good manager at Halifax, if I'm thinking rightly. So it's going to be a massive test, a really big test, and it starts the really awkward fixture list of Barrow, then Mansfield, then Gillingham, who are having a slight revival, then Newport, but then we've got Wrexham and Crewe. And then we go into like Sutton, which I'd expect us to win at home. It's going to be really, really tricky. But it all goes down to a Maynard lineup, and this is probably the most, since Luke Williams came in his first couple of games, this is the most guesswork we're going to be doing on the lineup. So what do you think? How do you think it goes? Yeah, it is, because there was a little season, there was a big part of the season where even when we were playing badly, we knew the lineup. So here we go. And Charlie says, can't forget the electric sponsor boards.
Honestly, I'm over it.
You're over that?
Yeah, I want good hand dryers. Someone's already said it. It's not right.
You can't have both.
You definitely can. You 100% can.
You can't.
I've seen it at a different football club.
Yeah, different club. I've seen you go into a place of hand dryers and wipe it on your shirt still.
I don't think you have.
I have. I remember thinking, I'm
where? When?
Hey?
There you go. Again? On the spot.
I think you're muted.
Yeah.
I could tell you when. Just give me a minute.
Talking backwards, mate.
Just give me a minute. It was at
Here we go. Look, hand dryers top priority. Hand dryers do bring in money, mate. They bring in health and safety.
Oh, I think the health and safety budget's gone.
Dry your hands on the new boards. No.
Could you imagine that? You walk out, dry hands on the new boards.
Water and electricity do not break.
What about rain?
What?
It's going to rain.
It's not rain. What about the weather for?
No, I'm not having that.
You're losing the video.
No, you're just being silly, aren't you? Because if you dried your hands on the right, stop talking about that. Anyway, line up. What are we saying? Who starts in goal under Maynard? Oh, I don't know. It's a clean slate for the goalkeepers. Complete clean slate. I think we'll see Aidan Stone. Fantastic that is. I mean, I sit in the Pavis as well, but I'll back that comment. But who do you say in goal?
I think Stone.
You think? I think Stone. Formation. I'm going to say we stay the same formation.
Yeah.
Warner, Baldwin, Cameron.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if you threw a curveball and put Jones in a more attacking position?
Yeah.
I say I really don't know. Right. I mean, he could put Toby in.
Yeah, I think it could definitely happen, yeah.
So who are you saying as the wing backs? It could be Chickson and Randall. We really don't know.
It's not going to be, is it? I think it's going to be Jones, and I'm going to say Naman because he's due a goal.
Scored in the last 2 games, hasn't
he? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go the same. Midfield 2 then. I'm going to go Bostock and Robertson.
Yeah, I agree. I think their last 3 pick themselves.
Yeah.
Crowley, McGoldrick, Maka.
But I wouldn't be surprised to see Austin in there. I wouldn't be surprised to see Toby in there. Macari's a little bit away off, isn't he, still with injury? We could have a new signing in. I mean, it's only 1 day, but you literally never know. You never know. Chris says, yeah, same team at Grimsby with Warner and for Rollo then, yeah. But I mean, we could see a different formation. We could literally see a 4 at the back with Cameron at left back.
What do you think the chances of that are?
70-30 that we will see the same formation.
Yeah, I think
maybe 80-20.
Yeah, I think it probably, yeah.
If we did go 4 at the back, though, I'm big on Cameron at left back with Baldwin and Warner at centre, and then right back I'm not sure. But I saw him at Oldham on New Year's Day last year, and I thought he was pretty good. Almost all of Cameron's crosses were spot on that day. I know it's a one-off, but if you got him in that position more often, I think it'd be really good. Can you imagine Cameron and Jody on that left-hand side? I think it'd be good. Adam said Stone, Cameron, left back, Warner, Baldwin, centre back, Toby, right back. That's pretty much what I've said. And then Bostock, Robertson, JJ, Maka, Didsey. Yeah. Crowley to score family end with a header.
Every week.
Adrian says 4 at the back. Chris says Maynard plays a back 3, won't change now. No, I don't think he will, but I think maybe an 80-20. 80-20. Right. George, what's the poll question?
The poll question is, are you watching The Traitors? No spoilers, please, in brackets. So 79% say no, 21% say yes.
You know, for a TV show it's for a TV show, I think 21% is a fair amount. You got people that don't really watch telly, people that don't have things like that. What did you vote?
No. I'm being genuinely honest. I don't know what it is.
Silly boy.
When Chris said it at the start, I think it was Chris.
What a show.
I nearly said I agree with you, but I didn't want to give away my answer. I genuinely don't know what
a show. What a show. Unbelievable. I'm not going to go into explaining it now. But watch Blackburn Rovers.
Explain it.
Watch Blackburn's new signing announcement. Have a look at that. That's class. I love it. Fantastic show. If you've not watched it, if one person on here watches it before next week and dislikes it, George will give you his Notts County Talk mug. There you go. Dave doesn't even watch telly. I bet the same 21% that watch Love Island. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're doing your job.
I don't watch Love Island.
Yeah, you do.
I watch Traitors on repeat. I don't watch Love Island.
Your wife makes you watch it.
I'm not having that. I don't have a wife. I'm not having that.
Love Island loves it.
No,
and you watch the Real Housewives or something.
I do have a wife, and my mother-in-law will be watching this. And
Real Housewives of I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
I remember coming around to your house and you had it on. You're on your own.
Hey?
Just unbelievable television.
You know what? I wish I had more time to watch Coronation Street. I used to love that. I grew up on Coronation
I used to like Coronation Street. Yeah.
I think we were the only year sevens that used to talk to each other about Coronation Street.
Yeah.
Superb telly.
Can't believe
Chesney. Schmeichel. I remember Schmeichel. Not Casper, the dog. Schmeichel, the dog. Right, score predictions then. I think this is going to... These don't concede goals. We do. 2-1 knots.
Scorers?
Mac a double.
I'm going to go 2-2.
That's not the end of the world.
I'd be disappointed if we didn't win on Saturday.
I would be disappointed, but it's not the end of the world. You don't. It would. I think it'll be not. It wouldn't be a disaster. It wouldn't be great if we start with a loss, would it? Obvious to say. Did Barrow play at the weekend?
I don't know.
I couldn't tell you. Or did they? Was it Crew they lost to? But I don't know if their game did get postponed or not. No, it didn't get postponed. They played Crew. So, who scores? Who scores for you?
Crowley, header.
Yeah.
Can't be standing.
Yeah.
And McGoldrick, top bins.
Fair enough. Let's have a little look at what you're thinking then. Luke, I'll try and put as many up as possible. 3-1 knots we've got there. George says 3-2 knots. We've got a 3-0 from Paul. We've got a 2-1 from Chris. We've got a 2-0 there. 3-2. We've got a 1-1, 2-1, 5-1, massive win. You can't stop not scoring. Adam's gone 2-0. Paul's gone 3-1. New lads, Warner, Macca, and Didsey. We've got a 3-2, a 3-1. I think the difference is if this was a Luke Williams game, we'd see a lot of 4-3s or 5-4s. We don't know what to expect. I just want to see a solid defensive performance, where we only give up 1 or 2 chances, maybe in the game, rather than the usual 8 or 9 chances. 2-1. We've got a 1-1. I'll put a few more in there. We've got a 3-1 knots. We've got a 4-3 Chickson hat-trick and a Stone clearance gets the winner. As always, Callum's sensible as ever. We've got a 3-0 and I'll put 2 more up there. We've got a 3-1 knots, Didsey hat-trick and a 1-0 knots. Okay, sorry I couldn't put those all up. Our viewing numbers are absolutely huge. So 185 people watching is exceptional for a Thursday night. So thank you so much. We really, really do appreciate it. We are going to have content coming out on Saturday, pretty much within a couple of hours of full time, as always. If you aren't already subscribed, please do, because it means you can create more and more content. As you can see, our channel is growing. We've got Holly on there. We've got Will, Jordan, and Jake giving their opinions, as well as us on the Pavis perspective and us on match days. So please do subscribe if you're not already. Give us a 5-star review if you're listening back on Spotify. And if you're going to the game this weekend, do enjoy. As always, thank you to our Platinum members who we've already given a mention to at the start. And yeah, anything else you can think of after the video, comment and leave us a like.